Designing a solution in Smartsheet can be challenging, both for you to think through all the assets, but for you to also validate that the customer understands and agrees. But also, the customer needs to see the features in action and to know that what you're building is actually going to work for them in the long run. So today, we're going to talk about Lucidchart. We're going to show how to diagram an effective solution, yet keeping it simple for the customers to follow the flow. When you're working in Smartsheet, it's crucial to make sure that you're on the same page with the customer. If you just talk about the solution, you just talk about the designs or even list them out, it's so easy for you all to have a different picture in your mind. With Lucidchart, it forces you to see that same picture together. And I find that either the customer helps me validate or helps me adjust what I'm seeing, or the customer gains more confidence in me and my team that we understand what we're truly building. So I typically use these shapes to identify a dashboard, a report, and a sheet. And I like to start with almost a blank screen, a blank sheet in Lucidchart, because I find it's easier for them to follow along with me. So for example, when I'm explaining Control Center, I will say, all right, you're going to have an intake sheet that takes any new project and then it provisions. And when I say provision, I'll say, okay, it creates a folder like so. In Control Center, we'll link information into it. Specifically, Control Center will link in data into the metadata sheet. That is a sheet that we usually build inside Control Center to be like the relay, to handle all the information flowing into your solution, into your Control Center created blueprint. So maybe the metadata sheet links to the plan, and it updates key dates or contacts that you may be using in it. So you would kind of create a flow like this to say, okay, the data first gets to the metadata sheet. And then it goes to my project plan. The user, it updates that project plan. And that data, for instance, tasks that are milestones and so forth, flows up to the project level dashboard. When I say level, talking about the fact that it is a project that's being created and that there's a portfolio level even above that. So you can see right here, the customer is able to see that if I have a project name, or let's say I have a specific contact that I sign all of the tasks, that data comes from my intake sheet, automatically goes to my metadata sheet, then links in to my project plan. I'm not saying this is the only way to design it, but it helps a customer understand the flow. From there, that project plan then shows information like the milestones. So for example, I could say this is a milestone report. And then I could say, okay, that information is displayed on the project dashboard. Now, I'm not saying to build every asset into this. And you could, of course, create a new page where you really deep dive into what your blueprint should look like. But the goal is for the customer to see the flow of information. And then what I say is, okay, now that there's information flowing into your project, you probably want to get it into your summary as well. Your summary is a portfolio view of all that information. So I have the portfolio summary over here, and my metadata sheet is going to link back out to that. Really, this metadata sheet has a two-way relationship. It may be giving things like giving things like contact information, maybe a couple dates to start off with, and then information's flowing back into it from the project plan, like how many tasks are completed, what's the next task to do, and so forth. That information could then flow out to the portfolio summary. The same could be said for budget sheets, RAID logs, and so forth. What's nice about this is you're showing, hey, the information is coming from the intake where people initially request the project. It's getting linked through in here and able to be seen on that project dashboard, but then it's also flowing out to the portfolio summary, where I would say, okay, I'm going to aggregate various reports. So I could say this is the portfolio report, maybe showing high-level information about all my projects. The portfolio summary populates that. And then I have the portfolio dashboard. Now, one thing I say is, okay, if I'm in the portfolio dashboard, I would like to see information about each project dashboard. Maybe I'd like to be able to click into it. And so what I'll do is I'll point back over here to that and I'll say, well, it's not exactly a selling relationship. It's more like a hyperlink. So I can say dashboard hyperlink. Now, you can see there's a nice ecosystem of information here. We're able to see how the data flows all the way from the intake, all the way to the portfolio summary, which is where the executives or the managers would be reviewing this. You don't have to do it exactly like me. My goal here is for you to see a way that you can show the architecture to a customer, but also show the flow of information as well. People overcomplicate making different channels, and there are times and places for complex SIPOC information and so forth where you could really break down every use case and all the various details you need. But I have learned that you don't have a lot of time with the customer. They're busy, they're trying to do a lot of things. And my goal is first to align on how it's going to be built. And as you hone in on those adjustments, you may find opportunities to get deeper and deeper into documentation. But initially, if you spend a lot of time in theory, just discussing it and showing even diagrams like this, when they actually see it, they may not agree, may not like what you've built. So the goal should be to build something fast for them to see it, for them to give you feedback, to test it out even. Because odds are there's going to be a lot of revisions. And I will warn you that if you're spending a lot of time building up front and you're not getting that feedback from them on, hey, does this actually work or not? You may have to revise far more than you estimated, because you'll find yourself wanting to make the solution as good as possible for that customer. And we all want to do that. When we build this, we never are just saying, hey, this is it, you're stuck with it. Our goal is to design something that they use. It's so inspiring to talk to a customer a year later and see that they use it every day and that they rely on it. It's really nice to hear, and it makes you want to keep repeating that ever, keep building good solutions for customers. But it also means you need to focus your time on calibrating it to their needs. So building it initially, getting it started, don't overthink it. Don't spend tons of time in the theory. Get something in their hands because they need to see it. They need to understand how it works. And then you're leveraging their creativity as well. When you're first building everything, it's you having to go like, should I do a symbol here? Should I build this type of report and so forth? But once you have the customer engaged, giving you real-time feedback, they're manifesting what they need. And you're really just helping them build that. That's the goal. The more you can bridge that perspective from the customer to be, hey, I see how my use case can apply to Smartsheet, the more effective your solution is going to be. And the more they're going to use you just to really design well the solution, the more they're going to use you to improve the solution and not necessarily spend all the time in the nitty-gritty details. They're going to find that your time is too valuable to take care of overarching design and not, oh, can you go fill that in? But diagrams like this help you speed that process up, help you and the customer grasp what each other's trying to work through. If you have questions about diagramming and are curious to learn more, please comment below and don't forget to subscribe.